Hello caffeine fiends and welcome to another coffee review video for www.getbeamed.com. I'm the Mean Bean Machine and today we're looking at Girls Who Grind Coffee's Karin Hernandez Guatemalan coffee. Now I've only ever tried one other coffee from Girls Who Grind Coffee and it was an experimental kind of process coffee. It really kind of blew my mind with the weird and wonderful flavours that it came up with. It was very fruity, very sweet, and something I just didn't expect, but it was an experimental coffee. So this is the first kind of regular coffee I've tried from them. I don't know if regular is the right way to phrase it, but you know, more standard fare, I guess. So I'm quite excited about that because they're a brand, a company who I've tried once, and now I'm kind of excited about what else I can get from them. Now, I bought this box actually from Dark Arts Coffee, my old favourite Dark Arts, because on International Women's Day they were running a promotion where if you bought a box of their latest coffee, they would provide a box of this coffee absolutely free to the first 400 orders. They had 400 boxes of this, and if you bought their metal hoop coffee right here, which we will be reviewing at a later date, you then got a free box of the Guatemalan coffee from Girls Who Grind Coffee. And that's because Girls Who Grind Coffee are an all-female roastery. They try and support female growers because, like many industries, women aren't particularly championed or promoted, and especially in coffee that is the situation across the globe. So Girls Who Grind Coffee are trying to do something about that. They're an all-female specialty coffee roaster. I'm just reading off the back of the box, from the southwest of England. This coffee is part of their Cheek to Cheek initiative, which is a scheme that puts 10% of the sale price of all our retail coffees back into the pockets of producers. So that's exciting. I'm excited about this coffee. So, located in Antigua, Guatemala, in the region of Volcan Fuego and Volcan de Agua, the water and fire volcanoes, lifelong coffee producer Karin Hernandez and her family also run 2 coffee farms, but they also manage Capeo, a company that supports 700 other coffee producers. Blah, 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 blah. Coffee, Finca Santa Isabel, where the coffee is farmed, and Santa Jose Buena Vista are harvested entirely by women. So I got this free on International Women's Day. So usually it's about 12 quid. You can still get it from the Girls Who Grind Coffee website. But I paid 12 quid for Metal Hoop and got it free. But usually this 250 gram box is 12 quid from itself. Now, it's from Guatemala. I've not had a lot of Guatemalan coffee, certainly not single origin Guatemalan. So that'll be interesting in itself. So the tasting notes say toffee apple, clementine and milk chocolate. So clementine, that sweet kind of acidic oranginess, but it doesn't specifically say oranginess, it says clementine. So I'm expecting something a little kind of more mild, maybe not so acidic. The milk chocolate, creamy, chocolatey, standard. And toffee apple is an interesting one because you suggest either an apple acidity, but that toffee, again, you're talking sugary sweetness. So what I'm expecting is very sugary, not particularly biting with the acidity, but there'll be something there. That is what I'm assuming. We'll grind it up, give it guys a shot, and then as a latte, and see what we think. So there we have it as a shot. The crema's settled a little bit, but nice dark shot, light crema on top, looking good. Smells not so rich, but it's got this kind of lovely, sometimes you get this kind of damp cloying smell from coffees, and this has got this very nice coffee smell, so that's something that's quite pleasant already. There's a sweetness to the aroma, doesn't come across too acidic straight away. So we'll see what we think with a sip. Hopefully all goes well. Ooh, so there's a darkness to that I wasn't expecting. Not as sweet, and even as I'm speaking now, there's aftertastes that are playing across my tongue. A weird darkness that, not a weird darkness, a darkness that was unexpected. It's not as rich and as sweet as the notes suggest, as the tasting notes suggest. There's something really kind of dark and rich would be the wrong word, but there is this kind of overpowering kind of. There isn't a sweetness, but there is a lingering kind of. I'm going to use the word rich, a richness that kind of pervades everything. It's very kind of velvety and dark, and it's not what I expected from the tasting notes, but it is very enjoyable, and I would say that's what I would like from a black coffee. If I were a black coffee drinker per se, I tend to favour lattes, but there's not a kind of pervading sweetness or anything that too tart that clutches at the tongue, but it does get you the, back of the throat and kind of sinks. It's very velvety, very, very nice. I guess that's where that chocolate tone comes from. There's a kind of rich velvetyness to it, but I'm not getting milk chocolate at the moment. If they had said dark chocolate, I would have been all over that and been like, yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to give it another sip because I feel like I'm missing something. Because it smells very fruity. It's got a fruity smell to it. If you stick your nose in properly. I guess there is a kind of berry fruitiness. I'm not getting that kind of toffee apple. I'm really kind of thrown by these notes a little bit. It's very smooth and dark, so these notes are not necessarily marrying up with my perception of what it should taste like. But it's really nice. I just can't place my finger on where those notes are coming from particularly. There is a sweetness, a very mild sweetness. And I think that's why they've said like toffee apple rather than apple, because there's no, fruity acidity, and I guess there is a kind of caramelly finish, so toffee makes sense. It's like a very dark, that rather than milk chocolate, I would have gone with a dark chocolate caramel finish. But those notes are so overused, and this doesn't taste like things that would use those notes, if you see what I mean. It's very hard to explain, but the richness, wow, it's a really lovely coffee in so many ways, because it's making me think about the flavours, but not in a, oh my god, what is that? In a really nice kind of pleasant, that's not too sweet, that smoothness is there. It's really smooth, which I really love. So I'm going to try it as a latte, see if anything else comes out as note latte, as per. See if anything comes to the fore a bit more. I really like that as an espresso shot though. That's really lovely. So we'll see how it pans out as a latte, see if I can pick anything else out, or if anything comes to the fore, anything is dulled, etc. So we'll go away, whack some oat milk in, see what we think. So there's my latte. I'm hoping more of that sweetness comes out, or I don't know, maybe I'm personally hoping for sweetness, but there's I hope it's not to the detriment of that kind of smooth texture. So we'll see what it tastes like with a latte once I can get through that terrible head I've put on it. Nice. I think from a personal point of view, the creaminess of oat milk really complements that. That is fantastic as an oat latte. But again, the flavour palette I'm getting is not what's described. And that's solely personal. I think that's just my palate. But it's not. I was just expecting something so sweet from toffee apple clementine milk chocolate. No, it's just not at all. It's not at all. It's a beautiful, smooth, rich, velvety coffee that's quite dark in its flavour. I don't think it is a particularly dark roast, but it's just totally not what I expected. But I really like how smooth and how creamy that comes out, in a latte. And that creaminess, I think, is where the milk chocolate has come from. There's definitely a dark chocolate tone that I felt I was picking up on. If you get a nice, decent dark chocolate, it's got that smoothness to it. And I think that's what I was associating with that kind of rich, heavy kind of smoothness that kind of really got velvety mouthfeel. And that's where I was coming from. And I think the milk chocolate comes from this sense that actually you put some milk in it, it has this gorgeous, velvety, creamy taste to it. So I see the milk chocolate. There is a light fruitiness to it right on top. So perhaps that's where the clementine comes in. I'm not particularly picking up any citrusy though. So obviously they haven't got an orange, and maybe that slightly lighter, slightly less sugary clementine. Again, makes sense. And again, the toffee apple, I just would have expected something more sugary, more sweetness with toffee apple notes. But again, I really think that's probably coming from that. Again, the mouthfeel, there's a lot of, syrupy. It spreads over the mouth. I wouldn't say it's a syrupy mouthfeel, but it spreads. That's where I'm getting this. I keep saying velvety, as though it's like a carpet spreading over your mouth, or not a carpet, but something rich. And when you used to see chocolate ads, like, oh, this is a very posh chocolate, and there'd be a velvet kind of blanket or something that would wave through. It feels a bit like that kind of richness pervading. It's just not what I expected, but I sort of see where those notes are coming from when I think about it. I just expected something different, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am loving this coffee. But just not what I thought it would be. So I'm going to go away and really think about this, because it's given me something to think about, which I sort of enjoy in itself as well. The fact that I'm thinking about my drink is nice. If you just kind of take a sip and go, yeah, like sometimes you do just want a palette, a flavour note that you're used to, and you just go, yep, bosh, that's that, chug away. But if you've got a new coffee and you just kind of, it's nondescript and you're not thinking about it, that's not necessarily a good thing. And this is definitely making me think. But yes, I will go away, think about it, present some final thoughts, and then we'll see what we think. I've gone away and had a think about me coffee, and Girls Who Grind Coffee's Karin Hernandez coffee has got 3 stars for me. Now, I did say I really liked this coffee, and I do. I really enjoy it, and I think it's something I will happily buy again. So I need to point out that it's definitely, it's very much a subjective scoring system I have. And it's 3 stars just because the tasting notes didn't marry up with what I expected, and that falls more on me than it does them. I really expected something sweeter, and it just wasn't that. But I did really like it. So for £12 for 250 grams, Guatemalan coffee, and it may be the case that I don't have a lot of Guatemalan, and it just wasn't really. It was a surprise. I'll say that, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Really nice coffee, but I'm going to give it 3 stars just for that kind of not what I expected. And I would like to give it 4, but it just you know, if it met that kind of expectation and then exceeded it, but because it sort of subverted expectation, I can't really bring myself to give it 4. That being said, now I know what to expect. I would perhaps rate it higher in the future, if you see what I mean. That may sound bizarre, but it's, yeah, like I say, very subjective score. So lovely coffee, but I've only given it 3 stars today. So if we go down, notes, velvety mouthfeel with dark tones, but no biting acidity. Yes, so I got a dark chocolate from the kind of shot. It does say milk chocolate, but when you put in milk, it becomes very creamy, as I've said there. Very light touch of sweetness. So that clementine, that toffee apple is there, but it really kind of plays on top of the notes. So it's there, but not very strong for me, and very creamy with milk. So that milk chocolate really comes through in a milky drink. So lovely coffee. Would give it a thumbs up. Do give them a try. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Do smash those like and subscribe buttons, and check us out at www.getbean.com for more coffee videos and reviews and other good things. Thank you very much. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.